Okay, anyway. I just want to see what the most transphobic VTuber has to say.
For people's needs, not Amazon.
This isn't a topic you wanted to discuss. PLS.
Yo, thanks the car cable that snapped. Thank you for the bits. Thank you. Did you hear about Nyara, the one who was siding with Anna Valens? I recommend looking up in your own time. I don't really know much about them. I don't really give a shit about them, just being real.
Ignore if you don't want to. I got a gifted sub from you, but my friends is calling you some heinous stuff, yet there's no evidence I can find. Could you share why PPE calls you LNZ?
I feel like I've answered this like twice today, but small Nyanta, your friends are suffering from brain damage. I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. I have pretty like lukewarm center-right takes on things. But because I differentiate between people with dysphoria and people who seek to use trans identity to push either fetishistic things or ideology, the fetishists really hate that I point that out. And it's in their best interest to call me some sort of like transphobic crazy Nazi so that their grift doesn't get figured out. And additionally, these are also insane people who believe that illegal...
Yeah, and those people, by the way, are grifting. They're grifting off of the actual trans community. And fucking them over. Not just the trans community, actually the entire LGBT community is completely fucked over by these psycho grifters.
Immigrants aren't a real thing, and so when I talk about wanting illegal immigrants deported and our borders needing to be defended, they think I want all foreigners or all immigrants deported, which is not the case at all. You're trying to decide if I'm becoming your new main news source or not. As far as minors go, you agree with me, but what's my opinion of trans people of like 20 years and up? I personally make a distinction between people who have been diagnosed with dysphoria and then people who claim a transgender identity when they're really just ideologues trying to push, you know, some political edge with an identity shield. Fetishists a la autogynephiliacs.
This is what I've been saying, is that it has nothing to do with trans people or gay people. It has everything to do with fucking degenerates. Like, freaking nasty degenerates. That's what it has to do with. They're the problem. It's not gay people. It's not trans people. It's the freaking ridiculous degenerates that hide behind that. And then they say like, oh, you think I'm a degenerate and you hate like all of the sexual shit that I'm like doing? Oh, it's because you hate gay people.
Androphiliacs are the opposite of that. They're women.
By the way, this isn't just, I'm just being real. This isn't even just the trans playbook. This is the entire leftist playbook. So it's the same thing with like, it's the same thing with, like, for instance, with black people. If you like say something like, oh, you know, all of that crime and all of that like bad culture stuff, it's terrible culture. Like, you shouldn't be like acting like that. Oh, it's because you hate black people. No, it's because you guys are acting like degenerates. That's why. It has nothing to do with you being black. And this is like their playbook for like every single thing. Every single thing that they bitch about, they complain about, and they call you a hater, they call you a Nazi, bigot, homophobe, transphobe, racist. It's all the same playbook. It's just a different, like, it's just they tweaked it a little bit for like each different identity, and it's so that they can say whatever they want with impunity. And if you even dare to question what they say, then like, oh, it's because you're a racist, it's because you're Hitler.
Fetishizing being men, very much less common. You don't see too many autoandrophiliacs. It's usually always AGP, and I want to distinct those people away from actual dysphorics. And I get a lot of pushback because it's...
Yeah, this is what I was saying, by the way, earlier. I know, and I'm guessing she's going to say that people disagreed with her on this. Yeah, I've definitely experienced the same thing where people say like trans people don't exist. I think trans people exist. It's just like, I don't think we're talking about the same thing. I don't think that, I think that a lot of the people that are like quote unquote trans are actually just degenerates, to be honest.
Very much in the interest of ideologues and fetishists that distinction is not made. They want to be confused with the average trans person because they benefit from the protections that trans identity gives them. Yep. They're allowed to push their fetishes on people. They're allowed to push certain crazy political ideologies, and they can just say, I'm trans, you're transphobic, and they can get no criticism, no pushback.
Yep.
And I feel like this is a very bad thing to happen to people who are actually trans, because then everybody sees this and thinks that everyone with dysphoria is this kind of crazy person.
I've seen like, it's like I said yesterday, I saw a video with like this person who like goes up on the screen, I think Igiku sent me the video. Igiku sent me the video on X, where there's a person that comes up to the screen and they're like, "Can I even show that video? I don't know if I can." Yeah, you know, probably better not to, but they basically go up to the screen and they go, like, you know, they do the typical thing where they're like, "My pronouns are she, her, like, how can you get it wrong? Like, get it right." And then they're like kind of like walking up to the screen and they just have like their dick fucking flopping around, like in their pants. And like you can because they're wearing like a tight outfit, they're wearing like a tight like shorts or something like that, and you can very clearly see the dick fucking bouncing around like it's freaking meat spin, right? And then they go like, and they're like it's she, her. It's like, well, why are you wearing that then? If like your whole thing, if your entire thing is that like you want to you want to be seen as a woman, then why the fuck are you walking around with your dick hanging out? It's ridiculous. You know, it's crazy. Like, what are you doing?
And I think adults, if they're not using taxpayer money from, like, you know, a taxpayer-funded healthcare, they can do it.
Ridiculous. That's right. It is ridiculous. 100%. Joby1.
The fuck they want to their bodies. As someone who has been through surgeries and HRT, you agree that we really should...
It's her penis, you fucking bigot!
Change
I know.
How we go about treating dysphoria. They don't talk about the nerve damage from surgeries, just glorify the end results, even though we still have the 41%. It's something Buck talks about all the time as well, and I use Buck.
Buck is a trans, female to male trans, I think, that... Yes. Female to male trans that like speaks out against like the crazy trans shit, basically. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
As an example, because it's
like
thank
you for the sub.
The most poignant example of how people aren't informed about how these treatments, not even including the surgeries, but how just taking...
Oliver says, "I hate Buck. Retard pushes porn hard." I mean, I think it's understandable. Like, you know, you're not going to agree with people and everything, right? But I mean... Yeah. I mean, you're not going to agree with people on everything.
Elevated levels of testosterone as a biological female, as an example, can do irreparable and dangerous damage to your internal organs. I can't think of anyone who's been on, as a biological female, testosterone treatment for as long as Buck has. I'm pretty sure he's probably the longest.
This is what I mean, by the way. Like, if you're calling Kirsche, who like has this kind of a take, and you call her a transphobe, then like, you're losing like 80% of the country at that point. Like, I'm just being real. Like, you're basically overplaying. You're overplaying like the entire, like, you're overplaying your hand at that point. And you're just gonna make people see like, well, you're fucking crazy if you think that you know, Kirsche is a person like who doesn't like hate trans people, just makes a distinction between people who are trans and people who are degenerate, basically.
Going one. And I've mentioned this almost every time. Years ago, he posted pictures on his Instagram of having to go to the emergency room because for how long he had been taking testosterone at that point, his uterus had necrofied inside of him and would have killed him.
What? That's
so
crazy.
It's like, you know, it's got some pretty bad side effects. They don't talk about the nerve damage from circumcision. Yeah, they also don't do that. Who would have thought that taking steroids could fuck up your body? I wish we knew sooner. I'm not even kidding. That's the first time someone put your position into words that well. I feel like I didn't word it as great as I probably could have, but I tried my best, bro. And an attempt was made.
It was pretty reasonable.
I'm not very eloquent. I'm just like you, for real. You don't think indulging the delusions of adults is good? There has to be a better way to treat dysphoria. Well, someone with dysphoria, right? Again, if you look at like Blair White and Buck Angel, I don't think either of...
If you don't know Blair White is another trans person that's like conservative, basically. Well, not really. They're not really like super conservative. They're just like not psycho. That's the best way to explain it. It's like they're against like the whole like super. They're not. They're like kind of moderate, but they don't really like the. Calling them conservatives is a little bit too much. I'd say they're like a moderate. They don't like the whole crazy trans movement, even though they're trans as well.
Them have had bottom surgeries. I think they've only had top surgery to make their chests look more like what they feel comfortable with. And I think in the grand scheme of things, if you're an adult and you're dealing with that kind of mental illness, that might not be the best way, in my opinion, but it seems to have helped them in particular. And they're not gouging themselves out and basically paying a doctor for 1,000,000 years to be on medication for it. There's another opioid crisis in the making. Big pharma pushing this for money. Oh, absolutely. Plenty of doctors doing these surgeries on people who are very misinformed, and they end up having a lot of issues after surgery, and they're just abandoned after. There's no aftercare. The doctors stop taking their calls. It's been wild reading some of the shit the past few years. I probably have seen that documentary before. I don't know if we watched it together as a community years ago or not, but it looks very familiar to me. His mom committed. Yeah, it's actually crazy when you read about the stories of some of these kids who had been on blockers from very, very young ages. Like watching the story of him and watching the story of like Jazz, it's just horrific, and I could not imagine going through that kind of thing. And it makes me all that more suspicious when people try to advocate for these kinds of sterilization procedures for children, and they try to say that it is
there they are. There's Niara.
Reversible, when it very clearly is not. Like, this is a dangerous thing to go down. This is not something that children should have access to.
Yep.
Protecting the children is to not castrate them or give them hormones that will mess them up for life. Their accusations...
See, like, this take is, like... I feel like this is a majority take, easily. I think if you were to ask, like, most people, like if you were to just take a random person off the streets and, like, ask them about that, and you framed it exactly like this, most people would agree with it. This is like a really small percentage of people that are just like super annoying about it.
Of groomer against the LGBTQ plus community, as with all such accusations from the far right, are rooted in projection. I don't think someone that makes sex their entire personality and their entire career and everything they make content out of, and then also talks about having POCD and being cured of POCD, which I've never heard any—
Wait, is this Anna Valens? Wait, the Alan Valens person just like... They just like said they're like a pedo on Maine? What? What the fuck?
Anyone with OCD ever say that they've been cured of their OCD, while also trying to hook up
Holy
vibrators to
shit.
children's games to have interactions with the characters in the game that set off—
Wait, what? Wait, I think I heard about this. What playing Fall Games with a sex toy means for sex and consent in games? Wait, what? The other night, I threw on a pair of cat ears, grabbed a hand-me-down punk denim hoodie, and made history as the first sex worker to stream sex toy support for bean-based battle royale. Fuck. You see what I mean? These people are fucking degenerates. Like, this is just degenerate behavior. Like, this isn't like... This has nothing to do with the gays or the transes or anything like that. This is just fucking degenerate. You consider a performance art, part cam show, and mini zany online novelty. They just did a live stream where they stuck like, I don't know, like with a vibrator up their ass or something, and then they just like had it playing through several rounds. The DualShock controllers. Oh my god. So like, hold up. So they set it up so like the vibrator would go off every time they touch somebody in game. First off, that's really fucking weird. Second off, that's like a little bit grapey. Like, am I wrong? That's a little bit grapey. That's fucking weird. Like you're letting all these other people being a part of your fucking kinky thing. It's so weird. What the fuck is that? Like, it's and a game with kids. That's fucking weird. Man, what the fuck?
their vibrator.
Holy shit.
While also talking about vor and how parents can talk to their 12-year-old who is into vor. Like, I don't, and also the person writing this.
Why does your kid know about vor? Parents need to fucking
It's not really
parent their damn
projection.
children.
If they defended someone apparently raping a 14-year-old child, well,
What?
he was a teacher. I just
Wait, this is the person that's
not,
virtue signaling to people?
I don't think that's projection. You know, maybe we need to check definition on that word. You can't say you're a 6-year-old girl and also queer, fucking, kinky, happy poly family, please. This is all like... Taking people like this guy seriously and actually playing into him claiming to be transgender...
Wait, who is this?
...is what gives people with actual dysphoria a very poor perception by normal people. And it's really unfortunate that people like this guy are taken seriously. This is just disgusting, man. And it's like, I don't want to read this shit, but it's very easy to get people to just be like, oh, you're just transphobic. You're transphobic to this brave transgender 6-year-old. And it's like, no, this is very fucking clearly a fetish. And this guy is claiming to be transgender so that everyone has to participate in his fetish. Otherwise, they'd be labeled a bigot, and it's in Canada, so probably taken to court. How did we get here? How did we get here as a society, literally forced into playing pretend with fetishists, trying to use other people's mental condition as a cudgel to be able to perform their fetishes in front of children?
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck?
How did we get here? What fucking happened? Walsh has previously stated that the thought of being a woman or pregnant caused him to become aroused.
Isn't that the autogynephilia?
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind! Literally every fucking time he opens his fucking mouth, it's literally just a fetish! During a podcast, he told the hosts he had developed an erection from the thought of being a girl. That is autogynephilia. You are not transgender. Stop harming dysphoric people by using them as a shield to force people into participating in...
Also, guys, I'm just being real. Like, am I the only one that thinks this is crazy? Because I feel like a person who's like trans wouldn't say that on the podcast. Like, put it this way. If your entire thing is like, oh, it upsets me so much, like I wish I was born as like if this person's like entire thing, again, thanks for the gift sub, by the way, thank you. If this person's entire thing was being trans, right? Like, oh, you know, I wish I was born a girl, it would be like so much better, and that's all I want to be, is that, right? Then why the fuck are you going on the podcast talking about your dick? It just seems weird to me. Like am I the only thing that's weird? Yeah, like I feel like a trans person wouldn't do that, because isn't that the whole point, that trans people don't like having that? It's like, why would you go and be like talking about your dick on a podcast on Maine? Like, that's so weird. Like I don't understand it.
To your fetish. I hate this thing. I don't even want to call him a man anymore. He doesn't deserve that. Much like a certain journalist who has written certain articles about me. Pretty sure that's an autogynephiliac and not an actual trans person based on everything we know. That fucking psychopath that brandished a gun at No Kings rally, also an autogynephiliac, definitely not an actual dysphoric person. And I know there are people who will disagree with me, but personally, I feel like...
Dude, I'm just being real. Like, if you want to have, like, your weird fucking fetishes, and you want to do them, like, at home, like, by yourself, like, I don't really give a shit, honestly. Like, I don't care. But, like, doing that on Maine and then expecting everyone else to, like, be a part of it is, like... That's kind of grapey. I'm just being real. That's kind of grapey. Like, I don't want to be a part of, like, your weird fucking shit. Like, just don't make me a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, like, go home and pretend that you're, like, freaking 5 years old, like, with your, you know, you want to do something like role play or whatever. You want to, I don't know, you want to do, like, some student teacher role play with, like, your SO, your significant other. I don't really care. You know what I mean? But, like, don't force me to be a part of it, and don't do it in public, in front of, like, kids. That's all I'm asking for. You know, I feel like it's perfectly reasonable. Like, if you want to do weird shit at home, then do weird shit at home. Just don't make kids a part of it, and don't make me a part of it.
It is important to make that distinction. Convenient misunderstanding classic. Yeah, right. I was like, they basically call me a Nazi because I have political opinions that are different from them, and they can't stand different opinions, so they must call me a Nazi and call me evil and say I'm...
What do you mean by making you a part of it? Like, forcing me to call them something, like, I don't know, forcing me to call them a little kid or something like that, you know? Like, stuff like that, basically.
Must be destroyed. No one is illegal, they cry as they lock their doors in the evening. True.
By the way, I feel the same way about people that dress up like really revealing, like in really revealing clothing in public. I think it's the same thing. Is that I don't care if you want to do that in private, but like don't do that, like don't do that in public with like there's kids around, and it's just inappropriate. Like I don't want to see, like there's people in San Francisco, I don't know if you knew about this. There's people in San Francisco that they walk around, and what they do is they put like they have a little sock for their penis. You guys know about this? In San Francisco, there's people, they have a little sock for their penis and they just put it over their penis and they just walk around naked. And but then they're like technically wearing clothes because they have a little sock on their penis. But they just walk around naked and like you can like just see everything else. Yeah, they do this. There's people that do this in San Francisco. And it's fucking weird. It's like what I mean, it's like it's not appropriate, you know what I mean? It's really not. Like I don't want to have to see it, you know? That's all I'm saying. Does it cover their balls? I think it does. I think it does cover their balls. I haven't seen it like uncensored. And there's like apparently like another one too here. About her being totally racist.
Forgive me.
The most racist VTuber.
You have a genuine question. You've been following a while, never really watched me. Wait, why were you following me if you didn't watch? Hold on, wait a minute. I don't understand. I'm curious as to why Twitter calls me a Nazi. You don't really see me posting that stuff or goose stepping. So why do they hate you so much? Double slaves! Double slaves all across the sky! Oh god, I'm stimming. Tangent Zero, I have no idea. I have no idea. The only things I could really think of for why these absolute freaks probably call me a Nazi is because I am pro, like, legal immigration, but I want all of the illegal immigrants kicked out. And these people are unable to perceive breakfast, so they hear me say
By the way, that's like another very popular take, really. Like if you're to like ask like random people, like a lot, I think majority of people would agree with this.
Legal immigrant, and they say, she wants all Mexicans deported, even the citizens! And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense.
That's actually kind of racist, because you're saying like, oh, you don't like Mexicans because you don't like illegal immigrants means you don't like Mexicans? That's crazy.
Because not all illegal immigrants are Mexican. There are Mexicans who are here illegally, and for some reason they're just unable to perceive the difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal migrant.
Yeah, because they're retarded.
I don't know, man. I don't know. They're fucking crazy. And I also painstakingly make the differentiation between people with dysphoria and people who are using a trans identity to avoid criticism as an ideologue or a fetishist.
Yep.
Much like a certain journalist who has written certain articles about me. Pretty sure that's an autogynephiliac and not an actual trans person based on everything we know.
All I gotta say is like these people that do the whole you're racist, you're sexist, you're transphobic, the people that did that, they're not doing a good job, because if their whole job is to make people less racist and to be less hating of trans people, they've failed seriously pretty bad. Because I feel like people nowadays are a lot more like pissed off at like, especially when it comes to like trans LGBT stuff. People are super pissed about that nowadays compared to before. And so the funny thing is like those justice warriors, like, you know, we already know that they're not actually justice warriors. It's actually not what it's about. But the people who call themselves justice warriors, if they didn't fucking exist, people wouldn't really care, I think. It's these freaks that like basically made everyone pissed off.
Yeah. Anna Valenz has written an article calling out Kirsche's bigotry and her support for Nazism. I've never supported Nazis. I've never supported Nazism. In fact, I've talked about having to grow up with my mother dating a neo-Nazi and how terrible of a person both of them were.
Wow.
Which is, again, how crazy these people are. There's a 3-month-old post about my purported bigotry. Is that the one where, like, the guy claims that you guys call me Ku Klux Kirsche instead of people being actually smart enough to understand that that was what people harassing?
The only thing good about Nazis was they had cool uniforms. The designer guy was really good.
Me were calling me, you know, they don't have any Nazis to fight against, so they have to make them up in their head. her fan name is Ku Klux Kirsche, a fact she openly acknowledges through retweets. Like, what level of autism do you have to be on to—
It just looks cool. Like, it looks really cool, like the outfit and stuff, like the hat and everything. Like, it's good style.
not understand the person that posted the Twitter screenshot they're using for that is literally being sarcastic and making fun of the people harassing?
No. Oh, I thought you were talking about the Ku Klux Klan. I was like, dude, those uniforms do not look cool, dude. That's like some spirit Halloween shit, dude. It's not even remotely the same. Okay, let's be real here. The KKK outfits are not even close to like as cool as the Nazi outfits. They look like cheap Halloween. Yeah, looks awful.
Come on, man. It's just like, you know, part of the reason I was attacked was like talking about the Great Replacement conspiracy
like a soft serve
theory, and it's just like the conspiracy theory part comes when you start talking about there being like this secret elite ruling class of Jews specifically trying to replace white people. But you have to be blind, deaf, and dumb to not listen to people like Keir Starmer or Hillary Clinton.
To be honest, though, the American military uniforms, like the modern, like Marine, like ceremonial dress, looks pretty cool too, with the sword and shit. Yeah, I think those look good too. Yeah.
Or just looking at the UK or Germany or Sweden or the US and all the issues we've had with illegal immigration, and these political leaders talking about how, like, yeah, we want tons of immigration to replace our workforce. We want the cheap slave labor. We know that our constituents aren't having birth rates above a replacement level, so we need to import all of these other people.
Yep.
Like, they just come out.
They literally said that. Yeah, they literally said that.
And say it, but somehow that's a reason to attack me? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
It seems like half the time the way it works is like you say like, hey, look at this thing that the crazy leftists are saying. Man, isn't that crazy? Look at what they're saying. And then they get mad at you and they call you like all sorts of names for like pointing it out. But it's not like you're really saying anything. You're just kind of pointing at them. You're like, look what they said. Isn't that crazy? It's like, wow, you are a racist. It's like, what, for pointing out what you said? Like, every single time.
How dare one of us filthy, I can't say that word. And why would you say that? Point out that a VTuber signed on to well-known Bastion of Understanding. Asmongold's mythic talent is spouting the racist conspiracy, the Great Replacement Theory. I'm not. I'm pointing out the demographic change that you can see with your fucking eyes, that now both Hillary Clinton and Keir Starmer have said, yes, this is happening. Yes, this was by design. Yes, politicians were complicit in this. I am literally parroting left-wing politician talking points, and yet still being told I am somehow blaming the Jews and pushing a Great Replacement Theory. I don't understand. I don't understand these people. The conspiracy comes in when people start saying, it's the Jews are doing it. And I have quite literally never said that. I've never said that they're doing that. Why do you keep saying I said that? Today I learned just playing an unedited clip of a person saying racist shit for 2 minutes is smearing them. The clip that they posted is literally me talking about how it's kind of crazy to spend, what was it, like £2 million or some shit on building a mosque in an area that isn't even majority Muslim. That seems a little crazy, and it's like they call it like a mega mosque or some shit. I'm like, that seems kind of crazy.
What?
And I'm using the fucking same talking point that Keir Starmer literally said himself months earlier.
What the British people are owed is an explanation, because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck. It isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support, of which they then pretended wasn't happening.
Calling the mere existence of mobs.
I don't get how you could simultaneously be like, it's bad for a country to want to like hold on to their own culture, their own heritage, like their own way of life, and then simultaneously be like, you can't colonize people. colonization is bad and like cultural appropriation is bad. I don't know how you can hold both beliefs like simultaneously. It doesn't make any sense.
A hostile takeover is pretty bluntly racist. That's not racist. Mosques aren't part of a race. It's a religion. And I mean, again, my stance when I've talked about this is, again, exactly what Keir Starmer and Hillary Clinton both said.
That too, yeah.
The demographic replacement is due to cheap labor. They want cheap labor. They don't want to pay the native citizens what they deserve to be able to live and work in their own countries. Demographic displacement is not great replacement. You hate their disingenuous lies and bullshit. I mean, it's more propagandistic to just call everything great replacement, because as soon as you smear someone with that, it makes them like a black mark, right? Because when somebody says great replacement, the first thing I think of are like the people who are just like, the Jews are trying to get rid of all the white peoples. And it's like, I have literally never said that a single fucking time. More than cheap labor.
Because it sounds like a conspiracy theory, right? When you say that, it almost sounds like flat Earth or something like that, right? When you say like great replacement theory.
Also voting, yeah, true. Also voting population. You wonder how the people would feel if Israel was building synagogues in every Muslim country. Are the ones espousing the demographic change opposition as racist, you believe, want their culture and people to die. Even the UN has a document on replacement migration. Yeah, but somehow that's just part of the conspiracy theory.
Yep. Honestly, like perfectly reasonable takes. I agree with like every single thing that she said.